Okay. You ready?
Sure, man. We're gonna make this up as we go.
What? What do you mean?
Okay, so we're doing the intro to change format, and then talking about what's next in DCU, and then getting on with it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I wish we'd had time to update our Twitter feed at this point, so we could start posting articles. But I'm gonna do that the next day or so.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I should give you the credentials to log into that.
It's TweetDeck. However, you would use TweetDeck. I don't know. I've never used it before.
Well, you'd have to download the app, but you still got to
Well,
log into
yeah,
the
you
account.
start there. Yeah. Okay.
So, okay.
Apparently, we both use TweetDeck, and then you give me access to the account, which gives me access to your Twitter. I think maybe I don't know.
No, I can decouple the two.
Okay, cool.
I know this because I deleted Twitter from my phone recently and had to put it back.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes. All right, yeah, count us in, man.
All right. Yeah, that was a pain in the ass. Anyway. 3, 2, 1.
What is up? This is the 6 month behind podcast for the month of April. I'm Pat.
And I am Sean.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
We got Avengers Endgame. We got Game of Thrones. Lots of people dying in both of them. It's good, man.
Yeah.
I'm
Lots of death and destruction happening lately. The world is doomed. But there's comic books to read.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
So I guess we should discuss why we haven't seen you in a while or talked to you in a while, if you will.
Well, I mean, we've been doing what's next.
Yeah, but we haven't done a 6 months behind.
Right.
And 6 weeks. 8 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, we skipped March because things got crazy. So what we're doing here is Pat and I have noticed over the last year and a half,
yeah,
that since we've been doing the What's Next podcast, it tends to get more listens. So we are moving to focus a little more on that show because it seems to be what you guys really enjoy. So we're doing those pretty much weekly. You're going to get 4 of those a month. And we're moving 6 months behind to a monthly format where we recap all the books for the month in one podcast.
It's exciting.
Now, when I say recap, we're going to shorten these up a great deal. You're not going to hear us discuss a whole lot of what's going on in these books. We're just going to give you the overview and tell you what we thought of them, because otherwise this would be a 4-hour podcast, and it's not going to be. And we had a number of reasons for doing that. One being what's next seems to be a little more popular. But we didn't want to leave people who like 6 months behind either. But also trying to do what 6 months behind every single week was taxing.
That's a word for it.
Yeah. We were having difficulty really keeping up with that schedule given life events. So whereas with what's next, we can, as we have been doing, we can do them relatively quickly, and in the time that it would take us to do 6 months behind, we can put 3 of those episodes out, and it's not nearly as much workload. So this is our new format going forward. You get 3 to 4 what's next a month, one every week, and at the beginning of every month, a recap of the previous month's comic books for 6 months behind.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that's changed is about the time you and I were struggling, and we were both struggling personally, and things that I don't think either one of us really need to dive into because nobody cares. DC decided to update their app and with the DC universe. And I thought I would dabble my toe in it and try it for 7 days. And 30 days in 1 month, they dropped 22,000 comic books.
Yeah,
And
in a month's time, they reached almost how many comic books that Marvel Unlimited has.
right before we hit record, I was looking at how many they put out today. They're to the point to where they're reaching. They've got as many as Marvel does in the backlog. They put out 366 Detective Comics today.
Mm.
I mean, it's such a number from 1937 to now that, you know, there's literally 1,000 of them. So anyway, they put 366 out today. They dropped everything that came out exactly a year ago. Yeah, man, they dropped boatloads of comics today. And so I dabbled my toe in it, thought, let's see what's here.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite stories was Identity Crisis. And that's, to be honest, I got the 7-day trial to read Identity Crisis. And it was really good. And I got to reading around with some other things and looking at some other things. And I don't know if it's the freshness of the DC app in that I haven't read these comics or even had the opportunity to read some of these comics in my lifetime, or I haven't read them in years, like say Blackest Night, which came out in the mid 2000s. Okay. I hadn't read those in, 10, 12 years, 15
at
years.
least a decade. Yeah.
So I don't know which it was, but we just decided to do what's next on the DC app also. And you and I have had multiple discussions about this. The DC app is so much better than a Marvel app. It is laughable. It is that they could do so much with their app in 6 or 8 months, and Marvel is just putting out 40 comics a week.
Yeah. We're not banging on Marvel or their characters or anything like that. We're going to continue to be a Marvel focused podcast. But if you guys haven't at least tried a 7-day free trial of that DC thing, you should, because it's not just comics, it's all their shows and movies too, and a bunch of other stuff. And it's what, $8 a month?
$8 a month, yeah.
I played around with it on your iPad last time I saw you for just a few minutes and was impressed.
Marvel is my first love, but DC is the hot mistress.
Okay, yeah,
there you go, man.
Yeah,
that's a good way of looking at it in my eyes.
Yeah, Marvel's the one you married, DC's the one you fool around with on the side. Okay.
Yeah.
So as such, you will occasionally, from time to time, get a few episodes of What's Next that are focused on DC properties.
Yeah.
And we figure that's a good way to both continue doing What's Next and keeping it fresh. It gives us more material to work with, and it expands an audience to people who maybe like our show but would really like to see something a little more DC focused. So, it's not like we're going to be all DC all the time. We're just going to, DC's just going to pop in and, do a dance occasionally.
Yeah, there you go.
Sticking with the mistress theme.
Yeah, we're just, we're in a hotel room with it occasionally.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll spend an evening at the Motel 6 with DC Comics.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the website is www.6monthsbehind.com, but you will find most of the action on our Twitter feed, which is
at the number 6 months behind on the Twitter. But you could also email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That is the number 6 months behind at gmail.com.
Yep. If you haven't read April's books, we're not going to spoil a lot of them, but we're going to be talking about a lot of them. So if you haven't, you might want to go back and read it before we spoil it, because we're about to.
You've had a month. Get on it.
Yeah. Hey, just out of curiosity, how long is it appropriate after Avengers Endgame before you talk about it in public?
I would say 2 weeks. Like standard spoiler rule is 2 weeks. I'm gonna say give Endgame a month, just because it's Endgame, and then Ollie Ollie Oxenfree, man. If you hadn't seen it, what are you doing?
Well, two things. First, so I saw it on Thursday night when it opened. I'm at church that Sunday, and all the nerds are huddled in the foyer where the chairs and tables are, discussing Endgame. Just
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I mean,
they're all huddled in the corner and whispering, so nobody.
Oh no! It wasn't whispering. It was out loud talking.
Okay.
I mean, there was like 15 of us. Okay, discussing Endgame. It was great. Secondly, have you seen that Spider-Man trailer?
Yeah, I saw it yesterday.
Dude, that looks good, man.
That
really looks good. Yes.
Also, something you should not see unless you've already seen Endgame. I imagine if you're listening to this podcast, you've seen it at least once, if not twice. In fact, I almost went and saw it again this afternoon, but decided to do, responsible things instead.
I have seen it once, and I will be seeing it a second time very soon.
Yeah. See, here's the thing: is there's like a movie a week coming up this next week, and it moving into the summer. Detective Pikachu comes out Friday. I forget all what's coming out, but there's like a single movie every week for the next 3 months that I want to see. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to pick and choose what I'm gonna see.
I understand.
Yeah.
So as we've said, you've been warned about spoilers. We have 3 events this month. We have Infinity Wars, Extermination, and Spider-Geddon. First up is Infinity Wars. Infinity Wars number 4 may be the best book of this series because Loki is in the Algam world, and we start with Emmarine, which understand what I just forgot her name. Gamora did in the last issue was she took the world and cut it in half by combining all the people. So the book opens with Loki talking to Emmarine, and which is a Wolverine and Emma Frost combined.
Yes.
Couple of interesting things happen here. First off is Loki having to convince Emmarine that this is real. Then Wolverine says, like, I got these telepathic powers and I'm Wolverine, and why don't I just drop myself a message in the bottle and, then I won't have to deal with this. And we have our first of several coming appearances of the Phoenix Ring, which is Wolverine embedded with the powers of the Phoenix. Okay. We're going to need it twice this month. So we're going to talk about it again in a few minutes. Yes, Wolverine empowered with the power of the Phoenix. And he's like, yo, dude, you can't fix this like you want to. You got to do what Loki says. And Emmarine's like, okay, fine. We see old Thor there. We'll get to that later. And then it's actually the Phoenix. What do we call him? The Phoenix Ring? Wolver Phoenix? I don't know. Anyway, he splits Logan and Emma apart. And at that point, it's, they're split apart. He also gives them a power stone. At that point, Emma and Loki go on the adventure of trying to gather all the heroes. My favorite hero in this mess is the Little Hulk. Okay. He's a combination of Bruce Banner and Scott Lang. All right. It is absolutely hilarious. It is literally a Hulk shrunken down to about 6 inches high.
Yeah. But he's also got the same proportional strength
of the Hulk. Yes. And the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. So you got this little 6-inch figurine smashing everybody. It's great, man. And they spend the rest of the issue assembling the heroes. Throughout the month, we had Infinity Wars Iron Hammer, which is Thor and Iron Man, Asgardians of the Galaxy, Infinity Wars Sleepwalker, which was surprisingly good, Infinity Wars Weapon Hex. You combine Weapon X with, who did it combine? I forgot.
Oh, it's anyway. Dude, I literally read this today. Scarlet Witch.
Yes, Scarlet Witch.
X-23 and Scarlet Witch.
And I tell you, I really enjoyed this Archknight book. I surprisingly enjoyed the Archknight book. The
Arachknight?
Arachknight?
Yeah.
Arachknight. Yeah, Arachknight. There you go.
It's Spider-Man and Moon Knight.
Yeah. I was literally reading your text and doing that at the same time. In Infinity War Soldier Supreme,
which
this
is
is
a combination of Steve Rogers. It's basically if Steve Rogers was Sorcerer Supreme. Some of these combinations are okay. Some of them were really good. Sleepwalker was interesting.
Yes.
Iron Hammer I didn't love. Weapon Hex was good. Arachnite was good. Soldier Supreme was okay. But this is a fun way to kind of mash up these characters and do it in a contained story, and you can play with these characters a little bit.
You've read the rest of Infinity War, haven't you? Or,
no.
I'm torn here. I'm going to say it. They at the end of this, as the person who winds up with the stones, because obviously it's not Gamora, they set this universe aside as another universe in the Marvel universe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so they had their own little self-contained multiverse to play in.
They do now, yes. At the end of Infinity Wars, they have their own little universe to play in.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought so. And especially after reading that Moon Knight Spider-Man book, I was really excited about it.
Yeah. Who wrote that? Because I feel like the reason you and I enjoyed that so much is it was a good writer.
I honestly don't know, and I am struggling to find a book at this point.
Okay, it's not that important, but yeah, I feel like that was just a really well written story, and that's why you and I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, and Mike Diodado's art is just great in this, man.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I wasn't keen on the first couple of issues of this Infinity War. I was like, okay, we're just trying to tie into the movies. And then Gamora showed up and started killing people. And went kind of crazy, and I was like, oh no, I'm all in now. I'm down with it. So yeah, it's been a good event.
Yeah, it has.
We have Avengers number 9 came out this month. Just 9. And if you can tell by the cover, it's all about Namor. So apparently when the Celestials fell from Earth, all the dead ones, one fell into the ocean, or maybe several fell into the ocean, we don't know, and really messed up Atlantis. We don't exactly know what happened, but all the Atlanteans are living like refugees. Namor's pissed, and he's essentially making war with the surface, and has caught the attention of the Avengers, who have come to discuss things with him, and Namor's not in a discussing mood. He's in a butt-kicking mood. So basically what happens is he puts together his own team of underwater Avengers.
Join me or die people.
Yeah, he's calling them into the Defenders of the Deep. And yeah, I don't know where this story's going, but I feel like he's going to clash with the Avengers.
Absolutely. Yeah. I haven't got to tell this story yet. I haven't got to tell stories in a while, so I'm excited. And we're going to keep this podcast under 2 hours. I'm at the comic book store a couple of weeks ago, and I'm talking to Neil, and I'm like, yo, dude, why didn't I get an Avengers? Because it was a schedule. Every 2 weeks, I got an X-Men, a Batman, Avengers. Boom. And I noticed I wasn't getting my Avengers. I'm like, where is it? And he said, well, they stopped publishing it while they published No Road Home. And I'm like, I thought No Road Home was a separate event. And there's this nerd standing on the other side of the counter. You know, the counter's square there, and he's on the other side of the square. And he starts explaining to me how No Road Home is a separate event, but they picked up the legacy numbering with No Road Home. Then they paused the main Avenger series because it's got legacy numbering too. They paused it for a few weeks so No Road Home could finish. Then they're going to go back to the regular series with the legacy numbering picking up where it left off in No Road Home. Except, dude, he's just going on forever. And I'm like, holy cow. After like 2 minutes, Neil and I look at each other and our eyes are glazed over. And 2 things. First off, we didn't care. Secondly, could Marvel have made that any more complicated?
You and I have talked many times about how Marvel, and Marvel's not the only one. DC has been guilty of this too, makes it so difficult for people outside of the comic book
Oh my gosh, man.
circle to break in. Walking into a comic book store having just seen Endgame and going, you know what, I think I'm going to finally read some of these comic books, and then trying to figure out what to read is impossibly hard.
It's stupid.
It's and then you look at the price tag, and we could talk about that for an hour. But yeah, doing stuff like this does not help. And let me tell you, if the guy behind the counter at a comic book shop can't explain this or doesn't understand it, you can guarantee the people he's selling the comic books to don't understand it. And we're the ones who keep up with all this crap.
Yes. Yes, I
So,
know more about it than 80 to 85% of people out there. And I was lost in the conversation.
yeah, it's bad business.
I mean, I can explain to you what's coming out in 2 months because of a Marvel previews, what hit the stand this week, and what's going to hit the stand 6 months from now on on my iPad that I'm looking at. I know the timeline of all those comics, and I'm standing there confused.
Yeah.
Anyway, never mind. I digress. Next up are our X-Men books. Our X-Men event is Extermination number 3. Ahab is basically wrecking havoc with the X-Men. He's turned Logan into one of the Hounds, and apparently he can just telepathically reach out and take control of any of the X-Men at any time. So he takes control of Nightcrawler, who's in the underwater base. He takes control of one of the X-Men who's on the plane. And it's just all bad, and the situation's dire, and I don't know how any of them are going to survive. Yeah, great cover on this book.
Yeah, I've actually read all of Extermination, so I know what happens at the end, and it's good.
Yeah,
it's a good little mini series.
There you go.
And it really don't be so concerned with what's happening in Extermination. All that is happening in Extermination is creating a way for what happens at the end of Extermination.
Yes.
It is set dressing and events taking place so that they can do a thing at the very end of it, which you'll understand in next month.
Yep.
Iceman number 2 came out. It was okay. Mr. and Mrs. X number 4 came out. I don't know anything about it because who gives a rip?
I don't care.
Old Man Logan 48 and 49. Logan has stumbled upon a nondescript Midwestern town where the Hulk has taken over and has basically declared himself king of this town, and he's terrorizing the populace. And of course, Logan's going to stop him, but not before people die.
There you go. Yeah. I don't even know what comes next. Return of Wolverine number 2. This is the issue where we learn that Wolverine's claws now, I don't even know, man. Maybe they glow in the dark. They're fluorescent. I don't know. They're somehow he's combined the powers of the Human Torch with his claws. How about that?
Yeah, his claws now have fire abilities.
Yeah, they're laser abilities, and I don't understand. I don't
either, and I just kind of didn't care. I was like, okay, he's got his hand knives are hot now. Okay.
Yeah. And here's the thing is when this is all said and done, Marvel, I read an article where they tried to explain what's going on with Wolverine in Infinity War, what's going on with Wolverine in Marvel Legacy, and how it relates to the timeline of all of these Wolverine return books that we're getting. And they can't. So, anywho, Shatterstar number 1 came out. It was in
Does anybody even care about Shatterstar for real?
Dude.
Why is Shatterstar getting his own solo book? Other than half the editors at Marvel grew up in a time and were reading comic books in a time when Shatterstar was popular, so they decided to give him his solo book. Dude, nobody's buying that thing.
Weapon X.
I understand it's a 5-issue series, but stop it.
I know. Weapon X 24 came out. It was all right. Sabretooth leading the team. X-23 came out, which was outstanding. X-23 number 5.
Yeah, it wraps up that whole story with the cuckoos. If you haven't been reading it, I would suggest going back to issue 1 and catching up, because it's only 5 issues. If you have been reading it, then you know how it ends, and you know it was dude. This X-23 book has been good since what, Secret Wars, when it was all new Wolverine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. X-Men Black Juggernaut number 1. I actually couldn't read because the app wouldn't let me.
Let me tell you what's going on with these X-Men Black. With the Extermination, what we're fixing to talk about in X-Men Blue and X-Men Black, they are resetting the X-Men universe. And they're, in this case, they're resetting the heroes. So this month we got out X-Men Black, Juggernaut, Magneto, X-Men Black Mojo, which I couldn't care less about, X-Men Mystique, and it's resetting each of the best one of these is X-Men Emma Frost, which we'll get next month. That's an off the chain comic. The X-Men Magneto is pretty good. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I couldn't read the Juggernaut one, unfortunately. Magneto was good because you see what he's doing on Asteroid M. But he goes to this like little diner in the middle of nowhere, and he's just kind of sitting there drawing and eating his spaghetti or whatever. And the little girl who's a waitress, I say little girl, she's like 16. There's this waitress there, and they get to talking, and then on the news, on the TV inside, they're talking about a new detention center opening up for mutants. And the two of them begin discussing that, you know, this is not fair, that they're simply being detained because of who they are. Of course, Magneto's whole time in Auschwitz comes up. He gets into a confrontation with some yokels who think this is perfectly fine. Lots of political commentary going on here. And then Magneto goes and liberates all the mutants from the detention center.
Yeah.
Mojo, didn't read it. I tried. I got 3 pages in, and I can't deal with Mojo. I just can't. I can't take him seriously. Mystique does her Mystique thing, breaks into what is it? Roxxon or some other corporation.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it steals a bunch of information from them, and also releases it's Trask. It's Trask Industries, and releases a mutant that they're holding captive. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
X-Men Red 8 and 9 is all about the ramping up battle with Cassandra Nova. There's actually a really cool kind of fight scene between her and Jean Grey in number 9, where you think she's killed Jean Grey, and it turns out Jean Grey wasn't there the whole time. And it's kind of her and her X-Men team are coming for Cassandra Nova, and there's going to be a big war between her and the mutants. That book has probably been my favorite X-Men book that's been coming out lately.
Yeah, probably so. I forgot to mention, if you're an Apocalypse fan, for some reason they decided to retcon all of Apocalypse's origin. So he's now like this prehistoric man who somehow evolved, and it's the backstory in each of these Black books, if you care.
Well, I was under the impression that he somehow got transported into the he was messing with, he was trying to like upgrade himself, which is what Apocalypse always does. And he messed with some sort of technology. It transported him either back in time or to some sort of other dimension, and he's devolving as he's trying to survive out here.
Honest to goodness, we've gone from just a villain or a hero just appears to now you have to give a backstory that makes sense. I don't care. Just give me a story. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Apocalypse has such a legacy that I feel like it's not a bad thing to do this with him occasionally.
Okay. X-Men Blue number 36 is the Blue team, all the young X-Men, basically just deciding, hey, we're going home. And they're saying their goodbyes to everyone.
Yeah, this will lead into not Extermination, but
Extermination.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, this is the precursors to Extermination. You should have read this
That's
book.
right.
You should have read all of the books preceding this one and number 36 before you read Extermination.
Yeah. Yeah. So read X-Men Blue 36 and then go back and read all the Extermination stuff. Because
Yeah.
it has to do with the extermination part is somebody's trying to kill the X-Men because them moving forward in time and then going back screws up the timeline, apparently.
Yep. Next, we have the Spider-Man books with Amazing Spider-Man 6, 7, and 8. Dude, Neil Spencer got so much hate for
Who?
what he did. Neil Spencer?
Nick.
Nick Spencer. Neil, same thing. Come on, man. Got so much hate for what he did with Secret Empire that you forget he's a really good writer. He did great stuff on the X-Men before he took over Captain America. He's doing great stuff here in Amazing Spider-Man. Issues 6 and 7 are, I forget who the dude is. He's not Boomerang, isn't he?
Yeah, it's Boomerang, who's like Peter Parker's roommate,
and
doesn't realize he's Spider-Man.
They go hang out in the villain bar. Yeah, and they go hang out in the villain bar, and Peter assumes some kind of other identity so he can win the Spider-Man trivia game. It's great, man. It's great. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I completely forgot what's in number 8.
I don't know either.
Okay, good. It made an impression on us. Ben Reilly was the Scarlet Spider number 24 and 25 was pretty good. Actually, I enjoyed that.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
I'll be honest. I haven't been reading it because I just don't care for that book. He's crossing over with the whole Spider-Geddon thing. So okay, whatever. Speaking of Edge of Spider-Geddon number 4, so like the last Spider verse crossover, we got a bunch of Edge of Spider-Verse books, which were introductions to Spider-Men or women from other universes. These 4 have been those. Number 4 details a Harry Osborn who picks up the mantle of Spider-Man after Peter Parker has been killed and goes to fight his father, who is the Green Goblin, and succeeds. The ending's kind of the ending's a little ambiguous, but it was one of the better Edge of the Spider-Geddon things. In Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man, we're seeing the crossover with Spider-Geddon in 311. If you don't know what's going on in Spider-Geddon, let me recap Spider-Geddon 0, 1, and 2 first. Because of Otto Octavius's hubris and using the cloning technology that he's been using to get these new bodies, and you'll have to go back and read the most recent Clone Wars thing for that.
Well, it's kind of summed up in Superior Octopus number 1, which I'm supposed to talk about in a few minutes. He takes the cloning tanks of the
Jackal,
but also the Inheritors. And he combines the technology of the two, but in combining the technology of the two, he allows the Inheritors to reanimate themselves in those clone tanks.
Right. So the Inheritors are back. In Spectacular Spider-Man 311, the whole issue is essentially Morlun, who is the head Inheritor, chasing down and beating the dog crap out of Peter Parker.
Beating him down.
Yeah. In fact, at some point, he calls J. Jonah Jameson on the phone and says, "Hey, go to my apartment, get me a thing. I need it." And there's a funny interlude where they're talking about what is a dresser and what is a bedside table and various pieces of what you call furniture. And all this is happening while Peter's having the crap beat out of him. But Jonah finds him and he's been torn to bits, and dude, it's rough.
Yeah.
So in Spider-Geddon 0, 1, and 2, we get basically the return of the Inheritors. All of the various Spider people get together. At the end of 2 is when they all go out and recruit other Spider people from the other universes, which is some of what we have seen in the Edge of Spider-Geddon comics. Number 1 is very interesting because it's where Otto Octavius, as the Superior Spider-Man, goes to, I forget what the Earth number is, but it's the Peter Parker from the PlayStation 4 video game that was so popular a few months ago. He actually goes to that universe to recruit that Peter Parker, which I thought was really cool. We have Spider-Girl's number 1. This is also interesting because Mayday Parker and the other Spider-Girl go and find May Parker, not May. Is it Annie?
Yes, Annie.
Annie from Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, and try to recruit her. And what is implied in this first issue is that Annie's kind of going to be the catalyst to all of this.
It's really good.
Do what?
So this whole Spider-Geddon thing is really good.
Yeah, and it's crossing over with all the Spider books. So if you're not reading all of them, you're going to be super lost. But yeah, it seems that Annie's going to be a serious factor in this coming war with the Inheritors. And by the way, everybody's pissed at Doc Ock, and because he's the one that let them come back, but he's also the one that wanted to kill them in the first place so they could never come back.
Yes,
there's a big to do there. We see a lot of that in Superior Octopus number 1.
Yeah, which was really good.
Yeah. Tell me about Spider-Man and Deadpool 39 and 40.
No.
Okay. Typhoid Fever Spider-Man. I read it. It didn't make any sense at all. Spider-Man enters the fever dream of someone named Typhoid Mary and is trying to escape. I don't understand what this is or what it has to do with anything.
Let me jump ahead a moment into the 616 universe. Black Panther and Deadpool number 1 of 5 came out, and Deadpool jokes all the way through the issue that they're going to get together, they're going to fight, then they're going to team up, then they're going to save the day, and the whole thing's a money grab. Those are the fourth wall jokes that Deadpool is making inside the Black Panther versus Deadpool money grab comic book. That's how over Deadpool I am.
At least it's aware of itself.
Dude. And it's actually not bad, but when you've got the writer of the book making jokes that, hey, I'm writing this book because it's a money grab, it's bad, man.
Right. It's almost a little bit of a slap in the face from the writing and editorial teams.
Yeah, I'm going to run through some of these books. You tell me if any of them catch your eye.
Okay.
We have Black Panther number 4 with Black Panther still doing the cosmic thing. It was pretty good.
It's good. It'll be even better when it's all said and done and you can read it as one thing. I've been reading it, but I would say when this whole saga that he's writing, it's a sci-fi fantasy is what it is. When this whole thing is wrapped up and collected into an edition and you can read it beginning to end, then it'll be really good.
Yes. And we're not going to go on and rant about why they don't just publish graphic novels. Captain America number 4 was very good. Champions number 25 was good.
Weird World. They all have.
Oh God,
they all have like.
I forgot that.
As they were transported into Weird World, they were given these like abilities where they're essentially like one of them is a paladin, Spider-Man's a rogue. It's all kind of like it's got like a Dungeons and Dragons flavor to it. It's really good. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Cosmic Ghost Rider 4 or 5. I think we're both enjoying that book. Daredevil number 609 is the beginning of what's it called? The Death of Daredevil?
Death of Daredevil. Yeah.
Yeah. And it starts with Matt Murdock being hit by a bus. And essentially at that point, he realizes his own mortality and realizes that there is a certain amount of time that he has to do things in life before life catches up with him and he really does die. This is Charles Soule's swan song. And, it's not a big secret that with, you go back and listen to our, what's the DD thing that we just did on What's Next? Something Land. The store where Daredevil's taken over by Hydra.
Oh,
or the hand
Shadowland.
and
Yeah.
Shadowland. Thank you. It's this is a Shadowland kind of thing where Daredevil's kind of losing his mind. He's going to die at the end because Charles Soule was passing the book off to somebody else. It's very good.
Yeah, and it's tradition within the writing circles to when Daredevil passes from one writer to another to leave him in a huge mess that the new writer has to fix.
Yes. Deadpool number 5, Deadpool Secret Agent number 3, For the Love of God, why? If we weren't getting, I would have to go back and count how many Deadpool books there are this month. Almost as many Deadpool books as there are X-Men books. If we weren't getting so many, Secret Agent would actually be entertaining. It's Deadpool as James Bond because he kind of did this body swap thing with a dude, kind of a next Friday thing. But anyway, it's just, you know.
You mean Freaky Friday?
Yeah, Freaky Friday and 13 going on 30.
Yeah, next Friday is the
that's the
that's
the Ice Cube movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't mind seeing Deadpool in that sort of scenario. That'd be interesting.
Dude.
But I'm
Friday and next Friday are a whole lot better than these Deadpool books.
Dude, like, understand these are just the Deadpool titles. He's showing up and cameoing in a ton of stuff.
Dude, he was in the Weapon X stuff. I forget what else he was in.
I can't keep track because he shows up in everything.
He's everywhere.
And don't get us wrong. All of us like Deadpool. I like the Deadpool series going on right now because dude guy's writing it, Scotty Young. Who's doing a way better job than he did on that Rocket and Groot piece of garbage he wrote a few years ago.
No doubt, man.
And it's a good comic book. It's good. And we like Deadpool. I love both the movies. I like the character, but it gets old. It's a gimmick that gets old real fast, and they're milking it too hard.
Yeah, it's just way.
And we complained about this with Wolverine a few years ago when he was literally everywhere. It's like, dude.
Yeah, they did a whole comic book where the story was, here's Thursdays with the New Avengers, here's Friday he's with the Uncanny Team, here's Saturday he's with the X-Force, here's Sunday he's out on a solo mission. I mean, it was the whole book.
Yeah. The whole comic was here's a week in the life of Wolverine, and he's everywhere. And it got that way then too. It was just like, oh my God, Wolverine's in this? Holy crap, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Death of the Inhumans number 4
has been very good.
Still killing off Inhumans, and
there was actually
you like it because you're killing Inhumans.
Yes, but it's also very well written, and there's a big reveal at the end of number 4.
Yeah. Doctor Strange number 6 was good. Domino number 7. This Domino series, it's got Shang-Chi in it. It's got the Diamondback and the other young lady in it. I'm actually enjoying it, man. Surprisingly, the Domino annual number 1 was good, and to say that there are 2 Domino annuals in one, or 2 Domino books in 1 month, and I enjoyed them both is, pretty impressive.
Yeah, sorry. Some friends of mine are just now getting to see Avengers Endgame. I just got a text from them saying, hey, we're in the theater to see it. So me and a couple other friends are giving them very obvious spoilers, such as Captain America is Steve Rogers and Thanos is the bad guy. Because we're just being a-holes. Immortal Hulk's good. Immortal Hulk has been good since number 1.
Dude, that Immortal Hulk book is good, man. It's a good read.
Yeah. They're putting and it's just a tinge of like horror flavor on the book.
Yes.
That makes the Hulk frightening. And that's something that you don't always get, is that the Hulk's scary, man.
Yeah. Yeah. This dude like leaves towns flat behind him when he's there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nuts. And what they have to do in Immortal Hulk number 7 in particular, just to stop him for a little while, is pretty serious. The Hulk has always been powerful. They've really amped him up in the last 7 issues of this.
Yeah, dude, he stomps the Avengers in about 3 pages.
Yeah. He does.
Yeah.
So much so that they have to pull out the what is essentially the Doomsday device to take him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life of Captain Marvel #4. This Life of Captain Marvel book I'm enjoying, but they're rewriting her origin.
Okay.
It's actually more in line with the movie than it is anything else. It's not completely, but it's pretty similar.
Yeah. Marvel Zombie. Does anyone care?
I read it. It was actually pretty good.
Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur 35 and 36.
Did not read because it's Moon Girl. Look, there's nothing wrong with that comic. I just don't understand we're doing this month by month now. So I have a lot of comic books to read in a month's time, and I don't have time for Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Although they play a big role in Marvel Zombies, which I would encourage you just to go read the first issue and see what you think. What about Marvel 2-in-1 #10? Pat. Yo, you there? Dude, what are you doing?
Dude, I lost you in mid sentence somewhere about Marvel Girl or Moon Girl and Marvel Zombies.
Okay. I don't know.
I literally mid sentence, you broke up, man, and went away.
Okay. I mean, you didn't go anywhere. I've been here the whole time.
Okay, I'm assuming you buffered, dude. Since we got to take a timeout, I got to pee.
Okay,
so we're gonna have to restart this thing. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Dude, it's fine.
What's happening is even with the video off, you're still buffering every now and then, and I kind of just, if you hear me hesitating, it's because you're buffering.
Yeah, you're doing the same thing.
Okay, and I kind of waited it out, and you said Pat, and then I responded, and I didn't get a response.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's pick it up at.
And from my perspective, you were just sitting there. Like I can see you moving, but you're just sitting there.
Oh, all right. Pick it up at Moon Knight 199 and 200.
Yeah.
Okay, let me intro it because I got a funny line about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Count us in.
3, 2, 1.
Next, we have Moon Knight 199 and 200. And I'm going to tell you what, man, your boy Max Bemis is so insane that I read 199 and I've got 200 on my to read list. And I just can't deal with that level of insanity in my life right now. So I haven't read it. That's where I am with Moon Knight, man, because your boy Max Bemis is crazy.
Yeah. For anyone who's followed Max, his career for any amount of time, that understand the crazy that you're getting in this comic book is his normal level of crazy when he's medicated and stable. there was a time when he was just off the rails nuts, legitimately insane.
More
Which
than
is
he
what
is in these.
Yes,
Good
yeah,
Lord,
dude,
man.
yeah. Go listen to the first couple of Say Anything albums and read about and just Google Max Bemis and see how crazy he was back then, dude. Um, there are stories of him just munching random pills on tour buses and being so blown out of his mind that he can't perform. Um, anyway, Moon Knight 199 and 200, which by the way, number 200 is the last issue. He's leaving the book. Uh, I've heard his story on this. He describes it as a mutual parting of ways. I think it was his editor went to him and said, "Dude, you're insane and you need to take some time off." And he went, "Yeah, you're probably right."
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what happened too.
Yeah. Cuz I'll be honest, in 199 and 200, I lost the plot. I don't really understand what's happening, what has happened, and how it ends. I don't understand. Maybe if I went back and read the last like 5 issues, I'd get it. Moon Knight teams up with Ra, the sun god, who he was fighting a few issues earlier. I don't know. It was insane. Miss Marvel 35 was a typical issue of Miss Marvel. Her and Bruno are fighting Shocker and trying to figure out her powers and maybe falling in love.
Yeah.
I didn't read Old Man Hawkeye.
Old Man Hawkeye number 9 was actually very good. He's going by. What he's doing is he's killing all the Thunderbolts. Hawkeye is that betrayed him when the night the heroes fell. At the same time, Bullseye is chasing him and trying to kill him. So he goes to Songbird, who feels so bad about what she did and how she betrayed Clint that she literally hasn't spoken since that night. She's like this nun in this monastery, and she hasn't spoken since that night. And Bullseye, of course, at that point catches up with him. He and Hawkeye fight. Then Songbird enters into the fray. Then Kate Bishop enters into the fray. It's a good issue, man. It's a very good issue.
Okay.
We have Punisher 2 and 3. I'm really enjoying that book.
Punisher doing Punisher stuff, man.
Runaway 14,
Who
which I'm not
cares?
enjoying at all.
I haven't read the Sentry, I'll be honest.
I guess you have to put out a Runaways book because you're doing a show. But
I guess
the Sentry is really good because if you follow the Sentry, there's always been these two parts. It's the Void and it's the Sentry. And in this book, I think at the end of issue 4, the start of issue 5, which both came out this month, he combines the two into a different hero. He's not Bob Reynolds. He's not the Sentry. He's not the Void. He is one being that comprises all of it. The Avengers are there, and he just looks at them and says, "Look, y'all can't stop me. You know you can't. Please don't waste the time. I got my head together. I'm gonna go think a while." And the Avengers are like, okay, sure. And he flies off. That's it, man.
Huh.
It's really good. It's really good. Shuri number 1.
It was good. Black Panther has to go to space for a little while, so she's Black Panther for a little bit.
Oh, that was good. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Thor number 6. Earlier, we spoke about the Wolverine version of the Phoenix. Now we are at the end of time, and I need to read this so I don't mess it up. And Doctor Doom has the combined powers of the Iron Fist, Starbrand, Doctor Strange, and the Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
In other words, he's pretty much invincible, and he is ruling the universe at this point.
Yeah.
Until the Phoenix Wolverine, I need to come up with a name for him, and Thor start fighting him. Doom still pretty much stomps him until the Phoenix, he kills Logan, kills the Phoenix Wolverine. We're at the end of time here. And at that point, Logan gives Thor the power of the Phoenix. So now you have Thor and dude with the power of the Phoenix. Dude, and they start fighting, and they fight for millennia underground, and occasionally the fight just erupts out of a volcano, occasionally being every few hundred years. The fight erupts out of this volcano, and you know that they're still there fighting. It's awesome, man.
Yeah. This was probably the best issue of Thor I've read in ages. This was awesome. And
Yeah,
by the way, when
this
we say at the end of time, we mean the universe is dying around the world or around the
and
universe. It's the end
and
of time.
and Wolverine is mad at Thor because he recreated Earth, kind of did a new Genesis thing, and Wolverine's like, "Dude, you should have done that. I don't know why you did it, but I wish you hadn't because now Doom's going to come kill it again." And
Yeah.
that's how they wound up fighting Doom. It was great, man.
It was an awesome issue. And I was reminded why I like Jason Aaron writing this character so much. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it book of the month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tony Stark Iron Man #4 is similar to the first 3 issues. Tony Stark's running Stark Unlimited, doing Tony Stark stuff, possibly dating Janet Van Dyne now. Unbeatable Squirrel Girl has been Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. It's not really, dude, if you're reading this and enjoying it, it's much the same. It is probably, honestly, it's the most consistent comic that Marvel's putting out. You can always know what to expect from it.
And it's entertaining. It's just not our cup of tea.
No, especially when we're doing a format like this where we're talking about every book and we've only got about an hour to do it. We're just gonna skip it. Unstoppable Wasp #1 was good. If you were reading the previous Wasp series, it basically picks up where this leaves off. Nadia's doing her superhero thing. She's running Girl, which is her science collective for very smart young women. They kind of act as her team, and while she's in the field, they're the home base team, helping her out. It was good. I enjoyed the first issue, and we'll continue reading, and we'll enjoy it.
Before you talk about Venom or not talk about Venom, they announced today that they're doing another Venom event this summer. Now, these are October's books, October of 18. So in summer of 19, which we'll get in the winter of 20, there will be another Venom event because Venom is that hot.
Yeah. And to be honest, they're doing some really cool stuff with Venom right now. #7 kind of wraps up the whole Void God Venom thing that was going on. You have to read it to really understand it. The annual was okay. It's basically a bunch of villains sitting in the bar with no name telling stories about encounters with Venom.
Yeah.
Didn't read First Host. Weapon H 8 and 9. I've enjoyed because they go to Weird World. And I always love anything with Weird World. So
that was actually a pretty good book.
yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Then we have the What Ifs, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, and Thor. I'm really glad that they're bringing back these What If comics because I always enjoyed those What If stories. And of course, you have the Unseen, who is formerly Nick Fury and is now kind of a Watcher, doing his whole thing. The Ghost Rider one was not great. The Spider-Man one, where Flash Thompson becomes Spider-Man, is cool, and the Thor one's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have to go to the bathroom. I've been holding it and almost dying. So we'll do that, do Star Wars, and then we'll finish. I'm sorry.
Dude, it's all good, man. Go on.
Okay. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah. 10, 15, 20, 30, 35, 40.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, I was beginning to wonder if you fell in.
No,
Okay.
not to be gross or nothing, but one of the things I have to do with my diverticulitis is maintain a half fiber diet, and
Oh, dude, I
sometimes
understand.
sometimes that means I have to find a bathroom in quickly.
Dude, since I took out part of Renee's colon, she's the same way.
Yeah, she knows how that is. Anyway, I'll count us in. We'll do Star Wars.
All right, you know all those Star Wars books aren't there, right? On the notes.
Yeah, apparently we reached our character limit, and you can only post so much at one time in the notes.
Yeah.
So here, let me go back to the notes.
No, it's all good, man. I mean, you're going to talk about them.
Yeah. I just want it for reference. Okay. Counting down 3, 2, 1. And finally, we have come to our Star Wars comics for the month. Have you kept up with any of these?
I really enjoyed the Dr.
Vader.
I'm looking at Dr. Aphra. I'm really enjoying the Darth Vader books. The Star Wars main book, number 55, is good. The other ones, no, I'm not reading.
Okay. Starting with Star Wars 55, we are continuing the story of Mako Ta base. Essentially, what happened, if you haven't been keeping up, is the rebels built a base to which they can use instead of being this just small cells out in the galaxy somewhere. That all went horribly wrong, and the Empire showed up and destroyed the base and nearly all of the leadership of the rebellion with it. Number 55 it shows how they get out of the situation. It involves some quick thinking by Luke Skywalker and some really good flying by Luke. But essentially what has happened is everybody gets promoted because dude, the leadership of the rebellion was decimated in this attack, and Princess Leia essentially becomes the second in command of the rebellion here. Dr. Aphra, she's still trying to make it off this prison planet that's about to crash into a sun or something. Darth Vader shows up, kills some people. It's all right. Poe Dameron 31 was actually the last issue. It deals with what Rogue Squadron's been doing between Force Awakens and Last Jedi and post Last Jedi. So we get some backstory on that. I've actually started reading the Aftermath trilogy, which is the book series that Chuck Wendig wrote that bridges the gap between the Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens, that 30-year period. And it actually begins about 3 months after the destruction of the second Death Star. And they're sowing some really interesting seeds, and you can already see the origin story evolving for a number of these Black Squadron pilots.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty cool. And then finally, we have Darth Vader number 22. I will go ahead and tell you this run ends at 25. Darth Vader has gone to Mustafar after seeing a Force vision to build his castle. While he's there, he runs across a mask that holds the mental image or personality of an ancient Sith Lord who, we'll say, fancies himself an artist. So Darth Vader goes to Mustafar to build a castle there, not because Mustafar is important to him, it is, but because he builds his castle on top of this nexus of dark side energy. And his hope is to open a gateway into this nexus and essentially enter into what is pure dark side. And we'll see where that goes.
There you go.
Yeah, this is probably the best story told in this whole run. I've already read it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. So we've already
that wraps us up. That's every comic book that came out in the month of April.
Yeah, we've discussed Thor, which was our favorite. I really liked that Darth Vader book, man. It was good.
It would have been second.
The Infinity War stuff was good. Some good books, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We are running short of time, so if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com.
The website is www.6monthsbehind.com.
And please give us a follow on Twitter at the number 6 months behind. We haven't been super active there in a little while, but we'll get back to it. Yeah, like we said at the top of the show, this will be our new format. We're just going to run down all of the comic books that happen in a month. You'll be getting what's next regularly from here on out. And occasionally a little dabble in the DC universe. Other than that, Pat, do you have anything to add?
I don't, man.
Yep. No wisdom this week because we're running long. We will see you guys next time.
Peace.